As you're pinching your pot out, these are the steps of how you want to think about it. Okay, this is where you started at with your ball of clay, and you put your thumb down through the center and you left a little bit of a base there, about 1/4 of an inch. Then, what you want to start to do is start to pinch out and around the bottom. Bottom first, you want to get it nice and even. This is a tad thin here, but it's okay. But you can see how the walls are thinner here, and there's this whole rim of clay up here that still needs pinched out. Then you're going to want to keep pinching around the sides here, so you're kind of pinching around, and you can see there's still a rim here that needs pinched out. And then once it's finished, it'll look something kind of like this if we were to cut it in half. It'll be nice and even the whole way through. So this should be the progression of your clay for your pinch pot, from this to this, and you can see how the rim is coming up, to this to this. So you can see the size difference in the clay, how much taller your pinch pot is going to get. So you don't want to leave too much clay at the bottom, because that's going to waste a lot of clay. One of the things that you notice that might start to happen as you're pinching around up towards the top and finishing out the rim, okay? You can keep going down around the bottom. If you feel a place that is kind of thick, you can put your palm there and put your index fingers inside to kind of smooth it out some. But once you get to the top, you might notice that there's some cracking. Like right here, there's a big crack. You can just take your finger and smooth it over. You can take a sponge, wring your sponge out, and smooth that over to get rid of the crack. But just be careful that you don't get your clay too wet. If you get your clay too wet, then you're not going to be able to work with it. You'll have to set it up to let it sit up. And if it's wet enough, it could potentially turn into slip. Okay? So you want to keep checking the thickness of the walls. Mine are almost thinned out enough. A little bit thick still, so we're going to keep pinching around. Being careful not to get any places too thin. I'm trying to get it nice and even. And don't be too concerned right now if your pot is going to like sit on the table correctly. It might weeble wobble a little bit, but that's okay. That's what feet are for. We're going to put feet on, and you can even tap it to get a base on there. Okay, once again, you can see that it's kind of starting to crack, but I'm not worrying about that at all. Okay, you're being very gentle whenever you're doing this. Okay? Now, one of the things you don't want to do, you don't want to take your pot and pull it like this with your fingers, okay, and try and open it up more, because that'll cause more cracking around there. If you want it to be a little bit wider, you can try and pinch it a little bit wider, but with pinch pots, the shape is kind of what you have. Okay, so this is a pretty good pinch pot here. A few places that might need trimmed up, and it's pretty even the whole way around. There's some fingertip marks in there, but that's okay. Okay, you could smooth these out, the cracks, if they bother you. But this is overall a pretty good pinch pot. Okay.